Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is, I believe today is Tuesday, January the 12th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and a really good trading day today. It was all downhill early, and then it was all uphill thereafter. It was really fairly neutral until I'd say the downtrend. There's a shorter term downtrend working here, shorter term trend working down here, and it looks like we get a break. It looks like you're thinking we might correct, but it just keeps going lower. And so you got to assume that there's probably another trend line in here. So I'd draw your trend line off those three, and it does turn out that works out. You can actually find that before it gets up here by drawing you a line off these lows here. That's telling you something um, as well. Although the other one fits, you probably want to be on the lookout for that right there. And if you draw that off and you just drag it up, and it does fit off those first three swings and then comes into play on these last two down here as well. So it's just a little trick that you can be aware of. And you can see there's a two-tiered larger channel working down, and there may even be a bigger channel in there. I didn't even look. You don't need it. You have this right here. I mean, this one move here gave you enough trades to be a really good day, and then we kind of just went flat. We had the break and the new low, and you really end up with two legs down. There's your first leg, then a little correction, and your second leg, and they're really close to being measured moves. We didn't quite get there. Then it reverses and uphill the rest of the day, and so we ended up closing up compared to yesterday. But in the big scheme of things, this is just a much larger trading range. All of today's action was basically inside the overnight trading, the overnight price action. This is your overnight high here, I believe. Yep, and this is your overnight low. And you can see we had a little failed break higher, and all the rest of the day's price action was within this overnight high and overnight low over here. And so that's just it's a big trading range, but it's a trading range. It's about a 40-point trading range, because this is where we bounced on the overnight. And notice where that is. That's an important level. That's a 19. That's one of those century marks, 1900. And they're generally emotional type areas that people watch closely. And you can see once prices got there in there, the buying came in strong. We sold back down to basically within a few points of that again, and the buying came back in again. So they may draw a line in the sand. We could work lower, but my guess is it'll take a few attempts to get through there before it continues on, if it's going to continue lower. Don't trade off that, but just that's generally standard the way that's kind of how the markets operate. So, but anyway, really good trading. I had a great day today. I don't talk a whole lot about my trading, and I do that purposely, and I don't like to talk about my trading, but it was a really good day. I probably had the best day I've had in a couple of years today. And so just to kind of give you an idea how good a trading day it was. So I also wanted to share something here. Another trader sent me, I actually got a couple. I get these in spurts, and it's funny how a lot of times when I'll get one or two, I'll get several of them. And I got two of these today, but I'm going to read one of these here for sure. Let me read the email I got. This was from a trader. He obviously had a really good day today too. He says, "Hey Mac, what can I say? All wrapped up already with 13.25 points for the day." And he sent me this at 10 a.m. my time, Central Standard Time. So he was done early as well here. It says, "Now it is beginning to make sense how predictable price action can be at times. The rules are spot on, and all it takes is the patience to wait for it to all play out." He's got a bunch of exclamation marks after that. "The executed trades are marked with a percentage and points taken. The other trades are noted, but did not take as they did not fit my rules. Good stuff, Mac. Could not have done this without your help, support, and guidance. 2 solid years." This is the important part. I'm not patting myself on the back by reading the other part. But it leads into this last line here he put, and this is the key to this, not the pat on the back, but what he says last. 2 solid years worth of chart study is paying off, and he has multiple exclamation marks there again. So um, he's having success with it. Success with this. He's proven that it works, and I get a lot of those. I had another trader that sent me an email, and he actually was talking about some of the charting situations. He's been trying to decide on a charting, but he used a new charting service today. He's been using NT, but he tried another one. He tried multi-charts. I'll just say that because some of you are probably using multi-charts, and I've actually recommended that to some of you that were, not able to trade NinjaTrader. So, but he used it and said he finally made his first successful live trade today, and he was excited about that. So that's a little bit of the, somebody that's having their first success versus somebody that's had long-term ongoing success. And going back to the original email, I'm just going to say this and we'll move on to the chart lesson. But that gentleman, he tells you, 2 years of chart study. And I try to tell people you cannot learn this quickly or overnight. And once the light goes off, that'll make more sense to you. But until then, it can be tough. And so never give up. Understand that this is not easy. It gets easy as you get experience, but it takes a long time to get experience to where this feels easy again. And even then, you'll have days that feel harder than other days that you struggle. And it won't necessarily be because it's a harder day. It's just that you get off on the wrong foot, or you got the wrong frame of mind, or you make a mistake. And there's different reasons. So, but this is not that difficult. It's a difficult path or journey to get there. So keep that in mind. But let's back out here, talk about the trades today. When I came in, we were rallying up. Okay, I had a slight interruption there for just a second. But anyway, you get the point. It takes a while to do this. People are having success with it, and I like to share those. People always tell me, I'll read those occasionally when people send them to me. And I know that helps a lot of you, and it gives a lot of you encouragement too. So I like to share them. And if you got them, if you got a success story, send it to me, and I'll share it. So I usually don't share the name or people's names or anything like that. I just read the gist of the email and leave it at that. So, but I'm going to back out here, talk about the trades, and wrap it up for the day. Quite a few of them today. But anyway, when I came in, we were trending up. There's actually a second entry long right here. Notice we're coming back. You go up, you get a little correction. And somebody actually asked me on yesterday's video, this confused them. Notice that this bar, tell you what, let's do this. Let me zoom in right here. Notice that this bar's high is lower than this one. That constitutes, we're moving up, and it pulls back, so that constitutes a correction and this move going up. And that's what you're looking for. You need a lower high in order to try to go long here. So this is the high, the swing high. We're working down. This is the first bar that breaks higher than the previous bar. So this is your first entry. And then you're looking for another correction. Generally, you like for this bar to make a lower low than this bar as well as a lower high. But in this case, it only made a lower high, but that's still good enough that if prices break above this bar, which it did right here, that's a second entry long. I just can't get a break today. Phones ringing, people at the office door, everything. But anyway, this break higher here is a second entry long. It's not one you want to take because this is a horrible signal bar, and you see what happens. It fails and it goes lower. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But let's back out there. So that's technically a second entry long, and that's what I meant by the comment in yesterday's video. This bar makes a lower high, and yesterday it was a situation where you could go long above that bar, and so it confused the trader, and he was asking me that question. But that's what I was getting at there. But anyway, now you got congestion, and you kind of get a little failed break lower here, and a chance to go long on that little breakout. And we're still looking for a retest of the high. but it's a little bit risky going long there because you don't have a close outside this trend line yet. That's the first break or close outside of it. And so, but there's reasons to like it because it is a bounce off the EMA. It's a double bottom. It's a failed break out of this little congestion area or a little trading range. And it's a really bullish bar. And it would have worked for a scalp, but it's a little risky because a lot of times if you don't wait on that break and a retest with a new low, you will get burned. And just like here, it ends up turning back down again. But in this case, it got enough and it would have worked. So it's always risky to go long or short too early. And this was just a little bit earlier, but there's other reasons to like that trade if you're trying to trade aggressive. So I gave it a green circle. And then it breaks higher again, and it makes a double top. It's also prices fell out the top side of this little trading range, and now it turns down. So there's actually a long trap there as well. And so there's some reasons to consider going short, looking for it to make a retest with a new low, which it does. And so, but again, it's a little bit aggressive. It's a little bit risky, but you could go short there. You could have just gone long, and then as soon as it's turned down, go short. And both of those were good for an easy scalp. And notice what happens. You get the break and the close outside of this short-term channel here. You get two legs down to a new low, and then it runs up for a retest of the high, and it has a successful retest with a new high. And then we trend down quite from thereafter. So, but here's what a better reversal pattern looks like. Look, notice how it shoots right through that EMA. There's no resistance there at all. Pushes past it, pulls back, and it bounces right off the EMA. It bounces right off that trend line, off those first few bars. It's a fairly bullish bar. It didn't quite close on its high, but that's a bullish reversal type bar. Just go long right there. It's a second entry long, counting off this low, and you're looking for a retest of the high. This has been a really strong trend up, so you're going to retest that high. It's very, very likely you're going to retest that high. The odds are extremely high that you're going to retest that high on a move like that. And sure enough, it goes up, it makes a new high, and then it reverses. And notice what's happening here. You're working up. There is another bounce off the trend line here. It's a failed second entry short, but you're pretty much right here into that last high, and you've already made a new high. I believe it makes a new high there. It's close enough. Actually, you just got a double top there. So you don't want to go long, even though there's a failed. I don't like that one. Plus, you got to go long at the high of the day, high of the overnight. That's the actual high of the day at that point. And so I don't think you want to go long there. I think you're better off to wait and see what happens, and you get the break, a move to a new high, and then it reverses. So you don't really have another long in here. It's tempting to go short here, but look at all that overlap right there. Look, we've got a couple of them that have their stems on both sides. They're more neutral looking bars, and you got to go short right into the EMA. It would have worked, but you're better off to wait on that failed second entry long, which comes here, and you get that nice bearish bar too. But this is actually, you can go short below that, even though that's a somewhat bullish bar. It's that failed second entry long, and it's a trap, and you don't worry so much about your signal bar on a trap. And so just go short right there. If you waited on this bar, let it break below it, and then drop a limit order back up in here, you could have gotten filled a few ticks back in there, and then off it goes. It's off to the races. And if you caught this trade, this one trade, you had a runner, and you could have ridden this down quite a ways, at least down to here on this shorter term channel. But if you saw the bigger channel and the possibility of it, you could have just ridden it all day long, basically. Or at least not all day long, but you could have ridden it until you got a break, which it broke out of there about 1918, 1919. And so if you ride that down, that's 20-something points off one, however many runners you got. That's a big deal. So, but anyway, you move down, you go into a little congestion, you get a failed break higher, you come back up, you make a double top. It's right off that trend line. It's a little bearish reversal type bar. It's right off the EMA, the trend line. I like going short right there. It's a first entry counting off the lows, but it's a double top. Uh, it's a um, it's a breakout pullback short. It's right off the EMA, right off the trend line. It's a small bar. It's low risk. So I like going short there. It's your risk is only 5 ticks basically, $100. I mean that's pretty low risk for a nice move down, and this one takes off quickly. And you actually had a little double bottom right there, and this is like a little breakout pullback short, and it's a double test of that too, which gives it more credence, and then it breaks 1 tick higher and turns down. Look how bearish that is. Just go short right there. You might let it break short and drop a limit order in, but you might miss a good trade. I'm okay just going short on that one because it's such a big bar, and it is right off the trend line. Um, it's a quick, easy move, but then it bounces and it comes back up. This is just the first entry, and that's not a very good signal bar. It closes more in the high part than it does the low, even though there's a tick of red in there. You can't go short there on the first entry. And if you draw your trend line too, you see that there's been no break. You do get a close outside here and attempt at a new high that just makes a double top, but that's because this main trend line working down through here, which you definitely should have had it drawn now that you've got, and this really confirmed it, and this just further confirms it, and it breaks higher above this bar first turn. Just have a stop right there, or you can wait on this bar to complete and put a stop right there. Either way, it's a key entry point. It's a double top. We're in a downtrend. It's the first break of the shorter term channel, so even if you don't see the longer term one, there's still some reasons to go short there, and this one's off to the races again, and then runners would have been safe on it. But notice how it bounces off this low, pulls back, you get a first entry, pulls back, and you get a second entry, a big bearish bar, second entry right off the trend line, key entry point, go short right there. It actually breaks higher and turns down here, but you're too close to the low to risk entering there. Just wait and see if you get a better entry. And you do. You end up getting a better entry right here. Notice it's breakout pullback. I don't think you want to take the first entry, but when it tries to go higher again and fails, just go short there and look at it keep going. Boom, all the way down. And you just came off the high, so you're expecting it to make it down to this line before it probably bounces. And notice what happens. It just keeps working lower. You don't want to enter on any of these, at least not in my opinion. And there are some shorter term trend lines in here. You got this one coming down. That's your first break. So you're looking for a retest of that low. It's another reason to enter there. Same thing right here. You're working down. You get a break there and a couple legs to a new low. So that's another reason to hang on to that one. And again, we talked about the break here, so that's another reason to enter short. And again, this one's tempting here, but you're going short at the low with no room to get out, so just skip that one. It's actually a failed second entry long, but even then, I think you're better off to skip it. We aren't down here yet, so there's some reasons to think about it. I'll tell you what I'll do, because it is a trap, and we haven't bounced off the low of the trend channel. I'll make it green, but there's just so many better entries than that. Why risk that trade? Just get in on these better ones, or wait and see if you get a better one later. And then notice what happens. We actually overshoot this side of the channel on the blue channel, and a lot of times that will lead to a break on the other side, and that's exactly what happens. You get the overshoot. That's a clue that you may get a break, so be careful going short in here. Notice this trend line, short term working up. There's not a close outside until here, and then you're probably going to get a retest attempt, which comes, and we make a new high. I don't think you want to take the first entry because it's a horrible signal bar, but when it tries to go higher again and turns down, it's kind of a repeat pattern. We've seen it a couple of other times up through here. Just go look how bearish that bar is. You really, when it went higher and then went lower, you could have just had a stop there, but definitely drop you a stop, sell stop below that bar if you didn't, or if you weren't already in before it closed. And look at it go. And again, this is a move that any runners are easily safe, and it's a quick move. And look at that first leg, and then there's your second leg, and it's basically a nice measured move there. We missed it by maybe a tick. So that would have given you a target on this move down. But again, you're looking for a retest of the low. This is a pretty big move down, and this is the first break. So look how bearish that bar is right there at the key entry point again. It's a fairly large bar, so you might let it break and drop a limit order in. But again, you'll miss some of these best trades. But generally, if your first leg is real strong, the next one will be more choppy. And if the first leg is real choppy, the next one could be stronger. So that's something to think about. But when you get this strong of a leg, the next one a lot of times will be a lot more choppy. So that would lend me more to trying a limit order in there versus a stop, because that is a big bar. Your risk on that bar, is $200. So you got to be careful with that one. You're better off to try to get a limit order and get a little safer, a little smaller risk on it. And then we notice how you're getting that congestion. It's right around that original midline, but you do have a new low in place as well. So just kind of sit tight, because we're probably going to reverse here, or attempt to. And look, this sets up just like a nice reversal pattern. It moves up, it goes right through the EMA, pulls back. There's actually a second entry long there counting off the top, but you've only got one attempt to go lower. Notice there's no correction, then a second attempt until here. So this is really your failed second entry short, the way we want to look for a reversal pattern. And look at that big bullish bar. Just put a stop right there, or let it break above and put a limit order, maybe a tick or two. But if you went much more than that, you missed it. And it was a quick, easy scalp. And then it turns right back down. And I really thought we'd get a reversal here. And also, it's right off the trend line. You can see that trend line. I really thought we would get a reversal here. But this is why you can't try to guess. You got to follow the price action. And when you get the break here, most likely you'll get a new high, and then we'll probably try to go lower again. And so just follow the rules. If not, if it continues to go higher, you'll get a new trend line, and you'll know how to play it. But here's your break. Here's your move to a new high, and there's a chance to go short. That's not a great signal bar, but I've circled it in green for a couple of reasons. Notice all those matching highs across there. It's a kind of it's a double top there. So that, and this is looks a little rangy. Notice how we're swinging back and forth to both sides of the EMA now. So that's a failed break out of there. That's one reason to like it. We had the break. It's a successful retest. Another reason to like it, we're a little bit ways away from the EMA. Another reason to like it, but it's still kind of aggressive because it's a first entry. And so I marked that one in green. We're moving, it moves straight down, and then it shoots out the other side. It comes back and tests it. It does give you a second entry short here on the like a breakout pullback short, but that bar is too bullish, and then the bearish one is too big. Now you don't have room to get out, so you just got to skip that one. It's tempting to want to go long here. Notice this is a second entry long. This is a new swing high, pullback first entry, pullback second entry. It's a big bullish bar. We're a long way away from the EMA. So maybe if you want to be aggressive, you could consider that one. But this thing has been very weak to the downside, so I'd wait on the reversal pattern. And kind of like yesterday, we didn't get much of a reversal pattern. Look how it shoots right up through here, pulls back, tests the EMA, tests that trend line, and then it's off to the races again. So you don't get your failed second entry short until here. It's not really a failure, but that's the second entry, and it doesn't go very far, and it bounces and goes higher. So, and this is the first break of this little channel working up. So we're probably going to get a retest of that high at a very minimum. So I like entering there, and this is one where I like adding on. And it's also a breakout pullback because this was your resistance across here. It's a breakout pullback long, and then this is a second entry breakout pullback long. And so I like adding on there if you didn't get scalped out here, which you probably wouldn't unless you got snuck in with a little better limit order, and I don't think you could uh, unless you were waiting on it to fill here coming back. And then I don't think I would add on. But if you're already in here, I like adding on there because you're probably going to retest that high at the very minimum. And that's what it does. And that's a quick move. And you can see that once it broke out there, it moved real quickly. And that got you in the 2 o'clock hour. There is a second entry long right here. But this is not a very good setup. You got that trend channel, you got that little trend line working down. This is actually your first close outside of it. So I don't think I'd go long right there. Plus, it's after 2 o'clock, but I'm just considering otherwise. I still don't like that entry. I think I would skip it. Now, when it pulled back here and tested it again and then went higher, I might consider entering there, but it's well after 2 o'clock. So, again, a really good trading day. I know that a couple of y'all had a good trading day today as well. And if you didn't have a good trading day, don't let it get to you. Use it for a study opportunity, a learning opportunity, because this does take time, just as I've talked about over and over again. And when you get a big trend like this working down, just wait for it to come back to the key entry points and look for an entry, following the rules, and you'll find them. So, all right, I'm not going to hang around talk about this as we already got 30 minutes worth. So I'm going to wrap it up for the day and get this uploaded. But this is Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.